Hello, and welcome to CloudPages. It's my pleasure to have this opportunity to give you a quick overview of this super fast server admin panel and to give you an idea of how it can make your server management life all that easier. Now, when you first enter CloudPages, you will be asked to create a project. It's important to understand that projects are not the same as servers. Projects are a way of grouping servers together. So we already have one project created here. In this instance, it is actually named after a server. The reason for that is that there is only one server inside this project, and there will only ever be one server inside this project. So it made sense for it to have the server name. However, ordinarily, a project would be a client, for example. And if the client had multiple servers, then you would group all the servers together inside the client's project. So let's go ahead and create a project now. So our client name is perhaps Super Widgets, and we create the project. Now we have a project called Super Widgets, which is the name of the client, and we will go on to now add a server. So here we are, we have our new project, and we now need to create a server inside this project. So we click on the project, and you can see that there are no servers inside the project Super Widgets. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here and we're going to deploy a new server. We're going to make sure that we are in Super Widgets project, and you can choose, at this point, you can choose a server setup for WordPress or a standard PHP application. We're going to choose WordPress latest version. And with CloudPages, you can use both Lightspeed Enterprise and Open Lightspeed. So if you have a Lightspeed Enterprise account, then you most certainly can use that. We're going to choose Open Lightspeed for now, and we're going to use Hetzner. We have a API key already set up for our client Super Widgets. So this may be your own Hetzner account for the client, or it may be the client's own account and they've provided the API key for you. If you don't have an API key, then you can add a new one by clicking here. So we're going to select the API key that's already set up, and we're going to name the server Hetzner Super W1. Choose the location, choose the size, and again, Open Lightspeed is what we selected. If at this point you decide that you want to switch to Lightspeed Enterprise, then you can, and you enter your license key there, but we're going to stick with Open Lightspeed. And then it's simply a case of hitting the Create Server button, and off we go. And here we have our server set up inside the project Super Widgets. So let's go in and have a look at our server. So here you have the live usage indicators. Now, we don't have these running continuously because that would end up putting strain on your server, which is something that we certainly don't do. CloudPages prides itself in ensuring that your server is going to be as optimally fast as is feasibly possible. So in order to refresh the usage indicators, you simply hit the refresh button and they will update automatically. Along the left-hand side here, we've got services. This is where you can install object caching through Redis, and you have your web server and database memory usage indicators here. You can refresh the status if there's anything that you're particularly looking out for at a particular moment. PHP Manager is as you'd expect. It allows you to move between the various different PHP versions. And on this page here, you just have the basic configurations that are the most common ones that people want to adjust. If you go into advanced configurations, then really the sky's the limit. You can change anything you want until your heart's content. Just hit Save Changes and everything will update. Firewall. is you can toggle the firewall off and on from here, and you can obviously add new rules, and you can delete existing rules from here. Mod security is not obviously set up out of the box, so this is something that you will want to install and then set up from this section here. SSH, you have your basic configurations and then obviously your SSH keys. You simply add a new key, as simple as that, and then your SSH is set up. Server settings, you can change your server name and you can change the path for websites on your server here. You can also move your server to a different project. If, for example, you have a server that you want to retain, but it's no longer under a particular client and you have a different project that is more appropriate for it, then again, you would just transfer the server to a different project from here. Lightspeed settings, really, this gives you your, in the same way as advanced configurations for PHP Manager, you make your changes here, hit Save Changes, and you can restart the server as well from this page. Once you've got your server set up, then the next thing you're likely to do is to want to install an application. Now, you do that by going to Applications, and then you can select a new application here. If you selected WordPress or PHP, that would take you to existing PHP or WordPress applications. So we selected Add New Application. Again, you have the option of WordPress, PHP, Mautic, or PHP-MyAdmin. We're going to stick with WordPress here. We're going to call this My Great WordPress Site. And we're just going to use a test domain. So we'll use demo as the subdomain. Version 6.11, the latest version. And here you can choose your various options depending on what kind of WordPress install you want. So we set up our WordPress username and WordPress admin, and we pop a password in here and then hit deploy WordPress. And here is our new site. So here is my great WordPress site, all nice and shiny. And it is in our Hetzner super widget server that we created earlier. So if we go in here, then we enter CloudPages WordPress Manager. We'll go along the top here first, but initially we'll look at this summary page, which has got open to access the site and have a look at it. Auto login, which is CloudPages auto login. So that takes you straight into the WordPress install backend without having to go via WP admin login. And then you have auto update configurations. This is for WordPress, so you can choose which WordPress version updates you want to update automatically or leave it completely disabled. The same for plugins and themes. Going along here, we have obviously your WordPress version, your PHP version. You can toggle LS cache on and off. You can enter debugging mode, switch off search engine indexing, and toggle maintenance mode on. So if we go along to plugins, this is where you can manage your plugins in bulk. So you can update all or just update selected. You can toggle deactivate, activate and deactivate, and you can update individually or delete. Similarly with themes, same sort of idea really. Update themes or activate or deactivate them from here. Staging is where you set up your staging sites for this particular WordPress install. You can either use a CloudPages subdomain, or you can use your own domain if you have that set up in your DNS manager. Once a staging site is created, it will appear down here, and you'll have the option to deploy straight to production, or remove the staging site so you can recreate it and carry on with your development work. Access provides access to your WordPress install direct from the WordPress manager here. So simply enter the email of the person involved and hit done, and they will then be granted access. Once you have multiple users who have access, you can manage them from the list below here. And moving the app. So if this particular WordPress install was one that for any reason you wanted to move to a different server, which can happen quite frequently, then it can be done easily on an individual basis, on a per site basis, like this, as long as your server is also connected to CloudPages. Moving down the left-hand side here, you can access your SSL certificate. So SSLs are created automatically for you when you create the site, and they auto-renew as well. So you don't need to worry about your SSL certificate, but the information is here. And if for any reason you need to reissue an SSL, you can do so. Similarly, if you wish to use your own certificate, you can enter the keys here. If you have a GitHub repo that you would like to connect to, then you can do so here, and access it through, it will appear, the details will appear down here for you. The file manager is an easy way to just browse through your files for this particular install, and you can obviously edit to a certain degree. Rewrite templates. Again, if you know what you're doing, you can edit the text files here. Access logs and error logs are here. Lightspeed settings are very similar to the rewrite templates. They're a text file that you can edit, again, if you know what you're doing. Cron jobs are accessible from here. And security, you can activate bubble wrap, which is creating a sandbox environment for your install, and obviously you can add the reCAPTCHA as well. And finally, in settings in WordPress Manager, you can adjust the specific PHP version for this WordPress install here. And also you can manage your Linux user password here. Before we wrap up, I just want to show you 3 more really great features in CloudPages. So the first one is down here in settings. Now, this is where you can create a plugin bucket. A plugin bucket is essentially a group of plugins that you can then choose to use when you create a WordPress install. So we might call this test bucket, and then we want to add, for example, Slim SEO. So we've added Slim SEO, we add the plugin, and then test bucket will be available next time we choose to install WordPress, and we can install the group of plugins all in one go. That's a real time saver. The next feature is Cloudflare integration. Now, what this does is this allows you to add domains when you create a site, or even when you create a staging site, and the A record will be created in your Cloudflare account. So if the domain already exists, then it will simply add the A record to that domain. If the domain does not exist, then the new domain will be added to Cloudflare as a separate domain within your Cloudflare account. The final feature is backups. So to set up backups, you first need to enter your backup keys. So CloudPages supports Amazon, Wasabi, and Backblaze as S3 providers. you simply name your key, provide your access key and your secret key, and add the key, and then it will be available when you set your backup schedule. The backup schedules are created here. So you select your server, choose your website, and choose your WordPress app. At the moment, backups only support WordPress, but we will be adding other apps in future. So this is why there is a separate section to choose your app. You enter your S3 key, the frequency, and what is great is that you don't need to manually go into your S3 account to then delete the backups. You can set the backup retention duration. Simply add your backup schedule, and then you are backed up. So that is a summary of CloudPages for you. I hope you can see that it's a really fully featured, really fast, and really easy to use server management panel. We're adding new features all the time, and we're very much looking forward to feedback from everyone in order to see which features we should mark as a priority to improve the service even further. Thanks for watching.